Following the Kremlin's invasion of Ukraine, competition for other LNG supplies has become intense. And that's why I want to bring in someone who can speak for one of the world's largest producers, Qatar's Energy Minister, Saad Al-Kaabi, joining me here in Doha. And of course, you head up QatarEnergy. It's great seeing you here. And firstly, congratulations on what has been a fantastic tournament so far. And given that you've sort of helped bankroll this event through the success of QatarEnergy and the build of this infrastructure here, it must feel fantastic that it's coming together, doesn't it?
Thank you very much first for hosting me on CNN and to be with you again, and thank you for your kind words about the World Cup. We're very excited to have everybody join us here. It's a great football party, if you will, and we're very happy to have everybody join us here. I think you see the atmosphere. You've been to some of the matches, and it's just electric.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Let's talk about this deal with Germany. The first long-term LNG deal in Europe since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Why Germany, sir, and why now?
As you know, we've embarked on an expansion exercise, if you will. We've announced the expansion of our LNG production from 77 to 126 million
That's
tons.
significant.
And it's going to come online in 2026. And also some volume is going to come from Golden Pass in the US in 2024. We've been working very hard on putting together sales agreements for all the volume that we're going to bring online. What you've heard is just two deals, the Chinese deal and the German deal, two of many deals that we're working on, and people are lining up really, and we could be really oversold in the next year or two with the people that are talking to us from around the world.
And that's fascinating. The Chinese deal, a 27-year deal. The German deal, a 15-year deal. Now, I know how important it is, and I think we should impress upon our viewers how important it is for a producer like you that you get these long-term deals locked in. You don't want to look at these kind of short-term deals. So why only 15 years with the Germans?
Actually, most of the deals you'll hear about going forward are 25, 27-year deals for the very long-term deals that we're looking at, and we're discussing with many people 27 years deals. The deal that we signed yesterday with ConocoPhillips is a 27-year deal. The reason we've announced it's 15 years plus is because Germany has put a restriction of their requirement to import gas into Germany at that point. So if you take from 26 till 15 years from 2026 when we start taking gas into Germany, then it stops when the German government says that we want to stop gas. We don't think that will happen. They will probably need it for longer and will be available for longer. But the actual deal with ConocoPhillips is to go longer. If it's not for Germany, it will go somewhere else.
The German Chancellor Scholz has said this deal is an important building block in the country's strategy to weaning itself off Russian gas, and it had a significant dependence on Russian gas. Do you think that you will play a very significant part in replacing that gas in the European energy market?
Yeah. If you look at what we've done as QatarEnergy, even before the Ukraine, I mean, we went and we booked capacity in Montois in the west of France, in Zeebrugge terminal, in Isle of Grain in the UK. We already have the largest LNG terminal in the UK. So we've been working on that because of the expansion to have a big chunk of business in Europe. Europe is a very important continent for the gas business. So we have been planning for supply to Europe before the Ukraine. What the Ukraine war has done is basically it has turned some, like the Germans, that didn't want any LNG import to having zero LNG terminals to going to about 5 in the very near future. So it's really the change, if you will, in import requirements in Germany that's changing it. Our plan has always been to serve Europe and Asia. And we look in probably 10 years from now to be probably a 50% Europe, 50% Asia market mix. It could be skewed to 60-40 either way, depending on how deals work out.
That is a significant change to that which you currently have, of course.
Not really, because if you look at what we serve as a market today, we have a terminal in Italy. We're serving Rovigo terminal in Italy. We're serving the UK with 20% of the gas that LNG going into the UK is from Qatar. So we've already been in Europe. We're just expanding.
But I wanted to mark that UK deal, and indeed this German deal, with the following. The German Interior Minister has sparked some controversy ahead of her trip here to watch the Germans' opening game, accusing Qatar of human rights violations. And this is her wearing a One Love armband during that game. Your foreign minister even accused Germany of sort of double standards, and yet you have signed this deal. The German and British media have been extremely critical in the run-up to and during this tournament about Qatar hosting this tournament. In signing this specific deal with the Germans, it does seem to be a clear signal that you certainly can separate business from politics. Do you have any reservations?
No, we have always maintained, if you look at all the statements that came out from Qatar, from our leadership, from our position on energy and business, we've always separated our business dealings from our politics, and people who have a political position on us, governments change, and we're serving, like in Germany now, or if you look at the UK or whichever country we serve, we have deals with private enterprises in these countries or some government-owned enterprises, and we see these deals like the one we have just signed that are 15 and 27 years. We would look for these to outlast governments and outlast CEOs and ministers like me, and it's something that would serve the people, where there is a gain for the people of Qatar in selling gas and the gain for the people of that country in utilizing the best fossil fuel available to mankind today.
So there's no risk to what is becoming, for the UK at least, quite some dependence on QatarEnergy as a result of the sort of the buzz that's going on around this World Cup.
We don't appreciate what's going on, I think, as far as the rhetoric that's going on. We have a view that a lot of it is negative, that's unjustified. But regardless of that, I mean, business will continue, and we will not really have business affected by politics.
And we talked about how important these long-term deals are. And they're important not least because of Qatar's long-term economic outlook in getting these long-term deals in place. Can you just explain how strategically important the story of LNG is and will be to the sustainability of Qatar's economy going forward? Because you are not now just a domestic producer and exporter. QatarEnergy plays a much wider role around the world.
Long-term deals are important for a seller like QatarEnergy, but it's very important for security of supply for the buyers themselves. And if you look at what's going on anywhere in the world, I mean, today especially, you look at the security of supply is something that's paramount and very important to every government around the world. So having a secure gas deal, if you look at Poland, and they've signed with us an LNG deal a very long time ago. You look in Europe, you look at Italy, some of these countries that have signed a long-term deal with us today enjoy a price that's much cheaper than the price that is in the spot market. So I think securing a long-term supply is beneficial for both sides.
And certainly at the moment, your position of negotiation must be really quite strong. Your oil and gas revenues have surged this year. You've talked about Qatar's energy international expansion in the past with me. Do you see yourselves going bigger and bolder? What does that look like in reality? I mean, are you looking at further international expansion, more acquisitions?
What we are doing is we're expanding from as I said, from 77 to 126 million tons per annum in LNG. We're looking to possibly do more in the future, depending on technical issues in the field and what we think we can do from reserve point of view. From the oil perspective, we're also developing oil in country. Outside the country, we're producing somewhere in the range of 50,000 barrels of oil. We're looking to go in the next 10 years to about 500,000 barrels a day. We're one of the largest owner of exploration blocks or rights to exploration around the world, and we're only going to grow. In addition to that, I mean, we have Golden Pass Terminal in the US for LNG expansion outside Qatar. We have the largest petrochemical project in the world that has just been announced for construction in the US for $8.5 billion. In Qatar, on the petrochemical side, we're also building the large, another, one that is a petrochemical plant that's going to be also the largest in the Middle East.